Good afternoon, Algebra 2 Trig Honor student class. This one I would like to talk about the way to multiply matrices. Okay, so the second half of matrices video. And number 12, 14, all the way down to 24. Okay, all the even number. So last time we talked about adding, subtracting matrices. So we were talking about the size for the matrix. And this one we'll talk about multiplication only. Okay, so for multiplying matrices, first thing that you need to make sure that the size of the matrix. So for those who might be wondering, do they need to have the exact same size of the matrix? Not necessarily. Okay. So let's say that we do have the first matrix. It's like m times n. And then the size of the second matrix must be considered n times any other number. Okay, so let's say any other number could be what? P. Okay, so you see that the number of column for the first matrix must be exactly the same as the number of row for the second matrix. So here's the first one, here's the second one. So the number of column of the first matrix must be matching with the number of row for the second matrix. Then we can multiply those matrices. If that's not the case, so there's no solution. And then that will be considered undefined. Okay, so now we'll do the first example, number 12, in just a second. Okay, so let me just snip this one. So we do have, well, subtractions. So it looks like we need to do subtraction first and then multiplying. Okay, so let's take a look at that here. So copy and paste. So you want to start it off with subtraction. Excuse me. So what we got here, the first one, is called a 2 by 2. So basically just rewrite it. So it's 2 by 2 matrix. Excuse me. Okay, so multiply by the other one, they also consider 2 by 2. So once you subtract, they also consider 2 by 2. So it's negative 3x squared minus yx. And then 5x minus 5. Just keep it that way. X minus negative 4, so x plus 4. And then 5x minus negative 6. So 5x plus 6. And now the way to multiply this kind of matrices, so you want to do this way. Since they have the exact same size, the number of column and the number of rows, the first one and the second one. So since those two numbers, they're matching to each other, so that means we can multiply them. Okay, so the way to multiply this is the number of rows times the number of column. So start it off with the first entry. So the number of row times the number of column. So the way to do it, so it's negative 5y times negative 3x squared minus yx. And then plus 5x times x plus 4. So we just want to set it up first with the entry. And then we're going to simplify it later. And now what about the second entry right here? For the resulting matrix, same thing. So row times column. So negative 5y times 5x minus 5. And then plus 5x times the quantity of 5x plus 6. So row times column. And now what about for the second row here? So second row, so you want to do that. So row times column. So 2y squared times negative 3x squared minus yx plus negative 3x times x plus 4. And then the last entry, again, row times column. So 2y squared times 5x minus 5 plus negative 3x times 5x plus 6. Okay, so for the bracket, I need to put it in for the entire matrix here. And then the rest of this, you want to simplify it. So negative 5y times negative 3x squared. So basically just want to distribute, which is what? 15x squared y minus well, plus, negative times negative, positive. So positive 5xy squared. Well, obviously they're not like terms, so we cannot combine them. And then plus 5x squared plus 20x. Okay, so just basically distribute that first, and then we'll combine those like terms. And then this one too, so negative 5y times 5x. Distribute, so it's negative 25xy plus 25y, and then plus 25x squared plus 30x. And then this entry here, distribute, so negative 6x squared y squared, and then minus 2x y to the power of 3. And then also this part, minus 3x squared minus 12x. And then the last entry, so 10x y squared minus 10y squared, and then minus 15x squared and minus 18x. And then finally combine those like terms. So combine the like term here, any like term. Looks like you don't have any like term for this one. Okay, what about for this one? There's no like term. Excuse me. And this one here, neither. There's no like term. So if there's no like term, we can just leave the final answer as this one here. Okay, so and now let's try another one like this. Okay, so that's just checking the work. And for number 12, yeah, so it's a quadnomial, quadratic quadnomial. Okay, so now what about for 14? So 14, so this one is quite straightforward. So this one is what, 2 by 2? And this one here, it's considered 3 by 2. Again, the number of rows times the number of columns. So 2 rows, 2 columns. But this one has what, 3 rows and 2 columns. So the number here, they're not matching the one here in the middle. So that's why we cannot multiply them. It's not multiplicable. If that's not multiplicable, so that means this one is considered undefined. Okay, so 14, undefined. Okay, so now what about for number 16? So number 16, we do have 2 by 2 matrix. And then the other one is 2 by 4. Two rows and 4 columns. So the way to multiply this, again, this one, the numbers, they're matching here. So making sure that the number they're matching, so this one should be multiplicable. So rows times columns, so negative 4 times negative 2, which is what, 8. Negative 6 times negative 1, positive 6, plus 6. So that takes care of the first entry. So for those you want to find out, what about the size of the resulting matrix without doing any arithmetic? So once you cross out the number, the one in comment here in the middle, so the resulting matrix eventually is going to be 2 by 4. Okay, because that 2 is remain, 4 is remain, 2 by 4. So that means it's going to be 2 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so now the second entry, so rows times column. So negative 4 times negative 4, 16. Negative 6 times 5, negative 30. And then the third entry, so negative 4 times 6, negative 24. Negative 6 times 4, negative 24. And then negative 4 times 0 for the last, well, this last entry here in the first row. So 0. So negative 6 times negative 2 plus 12. And then the bottom row here, so negative 1 times negative 2. Again, rows times column. So negative 1 times negative 2, so positive 2. Negative 3 times negative 1, positive 3. Negative 1 times negative 4, so positive 4. Negative 3 times 5, negative 15. And then negative 1 times 6, negative 3 times 4. And then the last entry of the second row, so negative 1 times 0, negative 3 times negative 2. 6. And then finally, combine them. So 14, negative 14, negative 48, 12, 5, negative 11, negative 18, and 6. Then that'll be this final matrix. So the rest of this, they're quite similar. Okay, so let's go through it. Okay, so let's see. And for this one, we do have 2 by 2. But this one here, it's considered 1 by 3. And then this one here, then that's what, 3 by 2. So one thing I just want to check here for the way that we multiply the matrices, because normally for the solving equations or doing any basic arithmetic, we always go from left to right, okay, for any kind of operations, but not for the matrices. Okay, let me just check one thing real quick. So for number 18. And this one is showing that it's not multiplicable. It's undefined. Yeah, we're still going from left to right. And the reason why this one is not multiplicable, so because that well, this one is 2 by 2, not 2 by 1. So the number here in the middle, they don't match. Okay, so since they don't match, so we cannot multiply these matrices. So it's undefined. And what about for number 20? So this one is considered, well, this size of the matrix here, it's considered what, 2 by 3, and this one is 3 by 1. So this one should work. So before you do that, you probably want to distribute that negative 3x. Okay, so this one is 1 by 1. So 1 by 1 times 2 by 1. And you might be wondering, this one, it's not multiplicable. Okay, because that's the number, they don't match. But somehow this one actually, it works. Okay. So let's find out why. Okay, so that negative 3x, the negative 3x right here, so that one is just considered the scalar. So just like a greatest common factor, that means you want to distribute. Okay, so once you distribute, so you do have 6x squared. And then the other one here is what, 6x. Negative 3 times negative 6y squared, then that'd be 18y squared. Negative 3x times 0, that's nothing. Negative 3x times negative 2y, 6xy. And then negative 3x times xy, then that would be considered 3x, negative 3x squared y. So 2 by 3 matrix times 3 by 1 matrix. Because this size right here, it's what? 2 by 3. And the size right here, 3 by 1. Again, cross out the number in the middle. So eventually the final matrix, the size would be considered 2 by 1. So again, rows times column. So 6x squared times 0, that's nothing. 6x times negative y, negative 6xy. 18y squared times xy, then that would be considered 18xy cubed. Okay, so keep that in mind, 2 by 1. So we take care of that, the first entry. So now the second row. So down the bottom, so 0 times 0, nothing. 6xy times negative y, negative 6xy square. And then negative 3xy times xy, then that will be considered negative 3x cubed y squared. And then combine those like terms. So negative 6xy plus 18xy cubed. And then this one, negative 6xy squared minus 3x cubed y squared. So again, the size for the matrix, 2 by 1. Okay, so let's check that, 20. Okay, so that's what we got. And now what about 22 and 24? So similar, but the things that this one, there's parentheses, so that means we need to start it off with 1 by 2 times the 2 by 2 matrix first. So eventually the resulting matrix will be considered 1 by 2. Okay, so negative y, 1, just rewrite it, bring it down. So row times column, so 1 times negative 1, negative 1, negative 4 times 0, that's nothing. Okay, so again, 1 by 2. So, and then the second column here, again, row times column. Wait a minute, I think I did it wrong. I put it in row times row, but it's supposed to be row times column. So 1 times negative 1, negative 1. Negative 4 times negative y, positive 4y. And then row times column, so negative 1 times 0, that's nothing. Negative 4 times negative 5y, 20y. And then finally, we do have 2 by 1 with the 2 by 1 matrix. Okay, so is that possible to multiply? So it looks like this one is going to be undefined again, but let me just simplify it a little bit. So negative y, comma 1 times negative 1 plus 4y, 20y. Oh, you know what? This one should be multiplicable. So it's also the same size in the middle. So we do have 2 by 1. The first one is 2 by 1, rows and column. And the second matrix here, the one that we found, this one it's considered 2 by 1. Wait a minute. And it looks like this one is not multiplicable. It's the same size of matrix for both of them. So the number here, again, the one in the middle, they don't match. So this one here, it's undefined. Okay, so for number 22. Wait, number 22 is actually multiplicable. But why? Okay, so row times column, so 1 by 2, 2 by 1. So eventually it's... Okay, let's see. Okay, back to number 22. So rows times column, rows times column. Oh, I put in the entry wrong here, that's why. Apologize for that. This one should be multiplicable. So again, the one that we multiply for the first two matrices, so this one, the final matrix, supposed to be what? 1 by 2. Okay, so for the format that I put in the second entry here, so that one's supposed to be the last entry of the first row. Okay, so let's go through this part again. So negative 1 times, well, 1 times negative 1, negative 1. Negative 4 times negative y, positive 4y. So that takes care of the first entry of the first row in the first column. And then the first row, second column. So 1 times 0, 0. And then negative 4 times negative 5y, 20y. So now it should be multiplicable. And the rest of this. Okay, I just want to get an eraser here. Okay, so again, rows times column. So negative y times negative 1 plus 4y, so negative positive y plus 4y quantity square. So this one is considered 2 by 1. And this one is 1 by 2. So eventually the resulting matrix will be considered 2 by 2. Okay, so rows times column. Oh, you know what? We don't need to add it. Just row times column. So gotta be careful of the size of the matrix that you put in for this. So negative y times negative 1, so positive y. Negative y times 4y, negative 4y squared. So that takes care of the first entry. And then first row, second column. So negative y times 0, that's nothing. Negative y times 20y, then that'll be negative 20y squared. Second row, first column. So 1 times negative 1, 1 times 4y, so basically it's just the same thing. And then 1 times the second column, so 0. And then 1 times 20y, so positive 20y. And that would be the one. Okay, let's check that. 22. Here we go. And then the last one. Okay, so this one is that multiplicable. So this here, it's considered what? 2 by 1. And this one here is considered 1 by 3. So for the resulting matrix, it's going to be 2 by 3 for this product. Okay, so for the first one, 2 by 2. Bring it down. So 5v, 3u, 6vu, minus 2. Bring it down. So 2 by 3. So that means it's going to be 2 rows and 3 columns. So one thing at a time. So 4 times negative 2u, negative 6u. Row times column. So 4 times negative v, negative 4v. 4 times negative 1, positive 4. So that takes care of the first row. Second row. 3uv times negative 2u. Negative 6u squared v. 3uv times negative v. Then that would be considered negative 3uv squared. And then the last entry of the second row. Negative 3ue. So this one is 2 by 2. And the one that we just found, this one is 2 by 3. So that means the resulting matrix is going to be 2 by 3 again. So rows times the first column. So 6v times negative 6u, so negative 30uv. 3u times negative 6u squared v. So minus 18u to the power of 3 v. Again, rows times the column. And then the next entry. So it's the same kind of format. So rows times the column. So 3v times negative 4v, negative 20v squared. And then 3u times negative 3uv squared, then that'll be considered minus. Let me just rewrite this one here. So negative 20v squared, 3u times negative 3uv squared, so that'll be negative 9u squared v squared. And then the last entry of the first row, or the last entry of the first column, well, the first entry of the last column, then that'll be 3v times 4, so then that'll be 20v. Okay, I don't need to put a plus right here because that was the previous entry. So 20v. And then 3u times negative 3uv, then that'll be minus 9u squared v. Okay, so back to this one. Second row, first entry, so 6vu, negative 2 times the first column. So 6vu times negative 6u, negative 36u squared v. And then negative 2 times negative 6u squared v, then that'll be positive 12u squared v. And then second row times the second column. So 6vu times negative 4v minus 24v squared u. Negative 2 times negative 3uv squared, positive 6uv squared. And then the final entry here. So second row times the last column. So 6vu times 4, 24vu. 24uv, either way. Negative 2 times negative 3uv, positive 6uv. And then things that you can combine. Any like term that you can combine here. So it looks like we do have a lot of like term here. So the first one, I don't think you can combine those two. So negative 30uv minus 18uqv. Keep it like that. This one here, I don't think any like term, so just carry that over. Okay, let me just write it a little bit smaller so I do have more space. So negative 30 UV minus 18 UQ V. Again, this one, there's no like terms, just leave it. Negative 20 V squared minus 9U squared V squared. This one too, there's no like term. 20V minus 9U squared V. Second row, first entry. So this one, any like terms? Yeah, so basically they're the like terms. So negative 36, 12, negative 24, U squared V. And this too, negative 24, U squared, V squared U. And then 6U V squared, like terms. So negative 18, V squared U. And then the last entry, so 24 UV, 6 UV, then that'd be 30 UV. Well, the thing is that looks kind of difficult, but the thing is it's considered tedious, so you got to be very careful with the size of the matrix, the one that you have. The way to multiply it, always rows times the column, rows times the column. First row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column, second row, first column, second row, second column, and then second row, third column. Okay? So let's check that. The last one we have 24. Here we go. Okay, so that's it. So thank you for watching the video today. So I'll see you guys next time. Again, if you guys do like the channel, so make sure that you subscribe it. Press the button subscribe and also click the bell. So normally I'll try to update the video at least once a week or maybe twice per week. Thank you for watching it. I'll see you next time.